We are on board the Axopar 45 crosstop. This is one of 3 models currently in the 45 range, made up by a cross cabin and a suntop. This is the first time e-yachts have been able to jump on board this boat and actually do a sea trial on board. So we're very excited to see how this 45 crosstop performs and the benefits of the crosstop design against the suntop and the cross cabin. So come on board, let's have a look. My name is Joe Fox from the team at e-yachts. We hope you enjoy this video. Let's take a look now. We'll go into the Helm Station, I'll jump on the controls and see how this new model performs. So we've had a beautiful time here in the south of France at the boat show, but it has just clouded over in the last couple of days and we've got probably a 15 knot wind. It's not too smooth out here, which is actually perfect conditions for testing the boat. Obviously from the drone, it's going to look a lot flatter than it is in reality. Talking through the Helm Station that we have here, 2 large 16-inch SIMRAD displays. So you can put any kind of information you want to customize on there. Just down here we have a small SIMRAD operating display for extra information that we want, be it engine diagnostics. The wheel position itself is adjustable, so up and down as normal. And also on this Axopar 45, when you select the Brabus line package, so the dark railings and the dark trimmings on the boat, we have the same steering wheel that you have on the Brabus boats. So it's integrated, it's the smart wheel if you like, where we have trim tabs on here on my left thumb, bow thruster also with my left thumb, and then my sound system and audio down on my right thumb. So when you're driving, it's much like the way you drive a car. You're all very integrated on the wheel. The rest of the Helm Station features the twin throttles here, 3 engines linked to 2 throttles. So if I'm operating the throttles independently, it doesn't engage the central engine, but when I engage them together, we're obviously using all 3 engines. There is also a Mercury skyhook option as well, so for those wanting a little bit of extra help, a little bit less manually maneuvering the boat, you can use the JPO, which also comes with autopilot and the skyhook feature. Overall, a very clean dash. We're in the crosstop, okay, and this is the perfect time to explain the difference between the crosstop and the suntop. The crosstop features the same windscreen as the cabin, but without the cabin. So we have this reverse windscreen all the way around. The dash is joined to the suntop, so there's no gap. In here you'd be arguably a little bit more protected than you would be on the suntop. The difference with the suntop is that the windscreen is sloped the other way, so it's more of a sports look, and there is a gap at the top between the suntop and the windscreen. So subtle differences. Arguably this is a little bit more protected at speed. Outside of the windscreen setup, the layout between the suntop and the crosstop is exactly the same, and we have actually tested the suntop as well on a different day. So we'll go through the driving aspects of it now. So I'll pull it right back to kind of an idle speed. Just let it slow down a bit. There's engines, they're the V8 300s, renowned for being very quiet, but they do have quite a lot of punch on takeoff, being a V8. So idle speed is 600 RPM, 9 litres per hour in total. So I'll just take the boat up through the speed ranges now, coming up to 7, 8, so it's 10 knots. Something that's really striking me here is that the boat's still level. It's like we're sitting in a marina. This was good on the 37, but this is absolutely amazing how little bow rise we have on this model. Doing 15 knots now, and the bow is still down. It hasn't risen. Normally on a boat we should be quite bow up, trying to come up onto the plane. But I can still see just as much of the horizon as I could see before. So we're doing 14 knots, I'll push it up a bit more. And again, we're still level. We're now on the plane at 18 knots and using about 118 litres per hour at this speed. So as we climb up through the speeds, we'll keep an eye on that number. It's actually dropped now, 23 knots, 109 litres per hour across all 3 engines. again, we're as level as we were when we were sitting in the marina. I'll just creep the speed up a bit more. So we're on about 4,000 RPM. The bow is still very level, 28 knots. And we're using 129 litres per hour. So from 16, 17 knots all the way up to 29, 30 knots, the consumption hasn't changed. You know, we're still burning just as much fuel for the ground covered. So the argument there is that you're better off going 30 knots because there's no difference in fuel consumption. All you're going to do is get there much, much sooner. Just creeping the speed up now. It's a good time to talk about the cross-top design. It feels like I'm driving the cabin boat here. There's a bit of noise from the engines out the back, but aside from that, I'm completely protected. You know, with the sun top, I'd have a little bit of wind in my hair, arguably feel like I'm a little bit more exposed, but yeah, it's quite nice. 35 knots, 146 litres per hour, so at this speed, the consumption has started to creep up quite a bit more, but we're only on 4,500 or 4,400 RPM across all three engines. Until this point, I haven't really needed to trim the vessel much. It does have active trim, so it does trim the engines itself, but it's been very kind of self-managing in terms of the trim. Going to a turn here, going around the turn really nicely. Again, the bow hasn't risen at all. Normally in a turn you slow down a little bit and the bow will rise, but yeah, that's quite phenomenal. So we're heading downwind now, back in towards Cam, and I'll just punch it up and feel the speed. Again, we feel very solid. Very secure, we're not shaking around. It's a big boat, 45 foot, and it feels like the 37. You know, in the turn, in the handling, on the wheel, I don't feel the weight of the much larger platform. It's really very similar in its feel to the 37. Again, we're still running super flat here, coming up 42 knots. 46 knots, 46 and a half. Got a bit of breeze coming in the side now, a bit of wraparound breeze. But we're topping out at 46 knots. And it's yeah, quite mind-blowing really. I'm a little bit speechless on how good it feels. So I pulled it back to about 35 knots now. And we'll just see what the actual hull can do. We go into a nice sharp turn, trim the engines down a bit. That's amazing how well it's going around this turn. Like, it's going through these turns as well as the 37 does, but it's better. You know, it's better than the 37 in the fact it's bigger, we're on a bigger platform. I've got more friends on board. But we're as nimble and as agile as the 37. Yeah, very, very confident in the turns. And it just wants to go round. It's the Axopar hull, but it's even better. It just wants to go through the turn. So I'm actually really blown away. And if we point the camera forward now, as I slow down, I'll come off the plane. So this is me coming down from 40 knots all the way off the plane. Can you see bow rise there? How much bow rise did we get? It did not come up at all as we were coming off kind of the knuckle of the plane. So very impressive. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. My mind is pretty blown. I'm a little bit speechless on what to say, but phenomenal boat. I think it's a good layout. Each model offers something different. The cross cabin is very different, and the sun top is definitely that perfect Sydney Harbour day boat, and the cross top is halfway in between. We are very excited to see the first of the 45s arriving in Australia at the beginning of 2024. So do get in touch. We'd love to show you down. I've got one at my office in Sydney, so do come down, say hello, and have a look at what this awesome new model from the leading adventure boat company in the world has to offer. My name is Joe Fox from the team at eYachts. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. See you on the next one.